yeah, we'll go back to you now. So I thought it'd be interesting to see what the Josh Lancaster was like before Strongman, before you did coaching. Like, did you have any other jobs? Like, I know you played football, but who was Josh Lancaster before all this?
Before Strongman, just
Yeah.
the only things that I've ever been able to focus on and enjoy and get fulfillment from in my life has been sport and maths when I was at school. And I think sport, because I've just been able to, like, I've always found it fun, and just it's the only thing that I've consistently done where I've managed to get into a flow state, and in that state where you feel like you're fully immersed in something, and you lose sense of the passage of time. You don't know, everything just goes, and that's me with sport. So I suppose I was I feel lucky that I learnt that at such an early stage. And then the other thing with, like, I suppose, like, school and whatnot, like, I was never a good scholar because I just didn't really see the point in it to really. So I was always getting told off and never focused. And at primary school, I could just get by not listening and do all the work, and it was a doddle, and be like top of the class. And I kind of took that attitude into secondary school, went to the Lancaster Grammar School, and I just assumed that approach was going to get me by there, whereas it didn't. I just I struggled with getting work done, and stuff that you actually needed to research, and you couldn't just rely on logic. Apart from maths, which maths was the only thing that was just logical. It just always made sense to me. So like the maths was the only thing that I didn't really study for, and I could, I did GCSE, got an A star. All the other stuff that I had to actually do a bit of study for. When you like history, you had to learn dates. You had to learn things that you couldn't just kind of make up, really. So anything that I had to do a bit of study with, really struggled with, because I just didn't see the point in it, to be honest. And I look back now at my time studying and my attitude, and I think I was bob on. I think I was right. I think it was absolutely pointless, an absolutely waste of time. I actually look back at I'm so grateful for the life that I have, because honestly, like, every year just gets better and better, and I get more grateful. And I just look back at the worst time of my life, and it was at school, and it was particularly going to a grammar school, because I had a duty to, because I was clever enough to, and it was very select and elite, and I just did it because I didn't even want to go there. I was essentially forced to go there by my parents, because they didn't come from a privileged background, and it was like something that they were really proud of for the family. And I just, and then I went there, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It was like just pretentious, elitist, like stuck up. Honestly, it was. I suppose it taught me a lot about values, and taught me of, like, what I don't want to be like, basically. But yeah, I would have definitely liked to do something different for the 7 years doing that, and sixth form. Fucking awful.
So you then went to sixth form, and did you go uni? Because I know you and Steph talked about uni.
Yeah, that was it. Like, I was, like, again, I was told at school that I was never gonna make it to uni, and then I was told, like, say, by my dad, that, like, I should give up sport and focus on other things, because sport's not going to make me money. I need to do something that's gonna make me money or whatever. So then, when I left school, I wanted, the only thing that I was passionate about was sport. So it made sense to me to do a coaching degree at the the closest university to where I went to school, so it was just convenient for me. And then I didn't fancy the idea of moving away and getting in loads of debt. You know, I didn't have. I'm not saying many people do, but I didn't have I had to fund it all myself, etc. So I just thought, you know, what's going to be the best way to do it. So I stayed at home, and which I didn't really stay at home, to be fair. I stopped on my mate's floor for, you know, most of my uni days, to be honest. Yeah, I'd say probably 5 nights out of 7 I just crashed on my mate's floor when I was at uni. And then, but yeah, so straight from sixth form to study my coaching and sports development degree. And then obviously I needed to earn a little bit of money, so what I did there was when I'd learnt to drive when I was 17, and then I started delivering pizzas as a way to earn a bit of money. And then that I enjoyed doing that. It was really good, and I learnt a lot about. Taught me a lot of values, actually, working in takeaways. I used to deliver pizzas, and then I moved when I was at uni. I worked at a Chinese restaurant doing deliveries, and they taught me so much about business, about dealing with people. I used to get really good tips because I was, you know, I learnt about customer service, really, and you know, really enjoyed doing it. I started understanding I knew the managers and whatnot, and I started understanding the mechanics of business, and yeah, it was crazy time looking back, really, because yeah, when I was at uni, so I went straight to uni at 18, and then graduated when I was 21, and then while I was at uni, I wanted to save up money to invest in myself, to either set up a business or put a house deposit down or whatever, or what I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that I didn't want to work for people long term, to be honest. I knew that working under somebody else's philosophy wasn't going to be a good fit for my mindset, to be honest. And I've always had this thing that, which obviously you know me closely, what I suppose one of the qualities really is that I will back myself, and I've always backed myself, and regardless of whatever situation I get in, even if I don't know the answer straight away, or feel like I can't see the result straight away, I just think, I'll work it out, and that's always my way. And because I know, statistically speaking, I've been in that kind of mindset all my life. I suppose having to make decisions like that, and being in sticky and problematic, having to problem solve from a really early age, actually. So I've got all this data. I suppose by the age of 21, compared to my mates who are 21, I've made so many more decisions already, where I've had to, you know, evaluate risk, and I've had to learn that, you know, I know that statistically speaking now, people talk about intuition and gut and stuff, but intuition, which I do, well, intuition and gut feeling is made of. It's made out of previous data and previous data analysis, but that's done subconsciously. So I know whatever decision I have to make, that 99 times out of 100, I'm going to be, you know, 90 times out of 100, I'm going to be grand, you know. 5 times out of 100, I'm going to, you know, make an absolute, you know, it's going to be better than anything anticipated. And then a few times out of the 100, you know, it's not going to work out, but that's fine. I'll find something else. And I suppose, yeah, that I've had that mindset from, I suppose, from a really early age, really. And going back to the saving money up. So when I graduated from uni, right, from people used to take the piss out of me when I was at uni, because they knew oh, what are you doing? Oh, you're going out delivering pizzas, delivering Chinese. Whereas like by the time I graduated, I'd saved up 10 grand while I was at uni. Well, all my mates are, they're in debt. And I was going out on the piss 5 nights a week, like for years. I was going out 5 nights a week. I was playing in the sports team on a Wednesday. Like I played rugby, football, whatever. And then you'd go out for a big social that evening. And then I'd have my mates from home that I'd play local football on Saturday. So I'd have like different groups of good mates that I'd go out with. So I was just constantly socialising, and constantly going out. We say like going out on the piss or whatever, but all that time I was learning how to communicate with people. I was building networks. I was like people that I'm close to now. I've got some of my best mates from those times, because they're the kind of people that we've evolved. We've gone down our different paths, but fundamentally, we all know that we're just the same fucking people that were fucking about at uni, kind of thing. And but my point is that we can see that like a lot of us have grown and have been successful in our own paths and careers and endeavours. But it's actually grown from the fundamental values that we'd like moulded ourselves at uni. Weird. But that was good. That's what I was proud of. Was like, I always beginning with the end in mind. Like I could see how I was saving up that money. That when I graduated. Oh wait, there, internet's gone now.
Right, we're rolling.
So sport's always been a massive part of my life, right from growing up. Like I said, that it's been an outlet for me where I've just felt like I've managed to get into that flow state, and I've managed to find a medium to express myself, and where I just felt free and I don't know. In that flow state, it's just my thing. It just feels amazing. Nothing else matters. And so when I was really young, I suppose where the kind of I'll say like elite attitude in terms of I've really wanted to seek excellence with strength sport, with strongman, for instance. And I suppose my attitude with it is pretty unique, really, because when I started with it, I just decided one day that I'm going to get really good at strongman. And I decided that it was a thing that fit in. I really, really liked it.
Wow,
I was fascinated.
Where did it come from? Because it wasn't about much, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was because I'd done a bit of lifting to help me with other sports, but then my other sports, I just knew there was no kind of long term. There was no long term thing for me within them. Like the last thing that I did was I played football for 10 years or whatever, and it was getting to the point where I was playing on a Saturday, and then I wasn't even able to train like until maybe Wednesday, because my knees were just taking so long to recover. And then there'd be times where the thing about it is that with the unpredictability of football and contact sports is the fact that you can't control what somebody else is doing, and even so much as like say playing on different pitches and running over potholes and stuff like that. There's stuff that you can't really foresee, or clash of heads or late tackles and stuff that like football, for instance. There was a week where I broke 2 lads' legs in 1 week playing football. One was just an innocuous challenge in training. The other one was this lad, this winger. I was like in left back position. This winger was going in. He's a bit of a crazy dude, and I saw him go. He took a heavy touch, and we were both sprinting, and I saw him going in high on me. So the only thing where I thought I could win the challenge and not come off worse was if I went higher than him. So I went higher than him, and he just heard an almighty crack, like just snapped his shin pad, snapped his tib and fib, and the game got like, it was horrific, and like supposedly he never played football again, and just like the chance of something like that happening to you, just thought. Whereas like stuff with, like say if we're doing a squat or a deadlift or a press or something, like I always think that if I drop an atlas stone on my head or drop a log on my head or something, that it's my own stupid fault. Like I'm in control of that. Very, very likely that that you're really increasing your likelihood of that happening if you're being reckless with your training. If you're trying to take big jumps, you're at your PB and you're trying to add 3% to your PB from the previous week. Like the likelihood of you fucking up is significantly increased. So that's why we need to be structured with it, and we take these micro progressions, these micro gains or whatever. It's the funny thing that people now who say like haven't followed me for that long on social media say, sometimes they'll message me and they say, "Oh, you're crazy! Like how heavy you're going! Like how, you're doing that this day, and then the next day you're doing that exercise heavy or whatever." And these people clearly haven't followed me for years and years, and I've trained. They're like, "Oh, you've done like a 400 kilo yoke," and I'm like, "But I've done like high 300s yokes most weeks for the last 4 years or something." Like, oh, you've done that exercise. Like if you tracked my data, like, and looked at these things that you take out of context, and you think, bloody hell, that's heavy. There's never any massive jumps. There's never any drastic jumps, because realistically, like a lot of people think, some people think you're hardcore with the, like, say, high frequency, how heavy you go and stuff. But realistically, for me, that's actually born out of I'm too scared to actually take these big jumps. That's why I struggle with people in terms of programming who like back off a lot for phases, and then the 6 weeks out from a comp, and then they're suddenly going super heavy again, and then for some reason, like for me, I'm just thinking of if I was training my body and I was trying to injure myself, like that's a kind of approach I'd take, would be, right, back off for a bit and then, right, really ramp up and go intense, even though I haven't exposed myself to this, certain lift for ages. Like take yoke, for instance, that a lot of people are scared of, a lot of people get injured on or whatever. A typical model that I see is like people not doing it for ages, and then they'll go and do some like back squats, build the leg strength, whatever. And then the 6 weeks out from a comp, they're feeling like a mutant because they're so strong because of this static stuff that they built. And then they're straight in at like, say, 300 yokes, and then week 3 on a linear progression of 320, 340, the knees are fucked, or the back's fucked, or they've got shin splints, or they've done something, they might have, like, say, torn the bloody pec or something because they're not used to that position stabilising so much weight. Whatever, that's just an example. Whereas I suppose my logic is actually the frequent exposure. What if I misstep a 380 yoke or whatever? I try to step out too far and the yoke swing. I'm not bothered, because I know that I've done that so many times in training that I've been exposed to that position and that impact and that slight imperfection on that. I suppose that's my approach, and I suppose I'm saying it from a stance of, a lot of people see it and they think, oh, well, actually it's, it's dangerous doing it that way. Whereas for me, it's actually born out of the opposite, and it's actually keeping injury prevention, for me, from a logical perspective, at the forefront as the base level thing. So that's why I'm always an advocate of, if we can do the thing that we want to be doing, you know, can we, if you can, like say, if you can progressively overload the thing that we're going to be doing in our sport, then why don't we just fucking do that?
Yeah, I want to go into like your methodology, but we'll touch on it in a bit, and like go into how did we get to where you are now? Like, where did so you got into coaching?
Yeah.
I've seemed to remember you coaching in a commercial gym. I feel like you've said that in the past.
Yeah. Right? So that's it. When I started off with the coaching, I suppose, I don't know if it's luck or what, but I don't feel like, apart from the 5 years at school and then 2 years at sixth form, which I feel like is a fucking waste of time. I really liked primary school, but I just feel like it's been it's just been a straight line into, like, I've like gone from sixth form to uni, done my 3-year degree, graduated, and then there was a commercial gym that just opened literally as I graduated that I applied for full-time post as a, you know, basically I did some vocational qualifications while I was at uni. So I did like my level 2 gym instructor, level 3 PT, did like football coaching, rugby coaching, tennis coaching, whatnot. And oh yeah, just a heads up for anybody doing a coaching degree as well. Like, the thing what I disagree with about uni was that a lot of people graduated and they got a degree in coaching and they can't get a fucking job because you can't get insured to coach anything because they've got no vocational qualifications. They've got no, you know, you need to actually have, you know, if you want to coach football, you need to get your level 1 and then level 2 to actually get insured, and it doesn't make a shite of difference whether you've got a coaching degree or not. And you could do those vocational qualifications when you're 18, so, you know. So I look back at uni, and even though I've got a degree, why, I've never shown it to anybody. Nobody's interested in seeing it. It hasn't made a shite of difference to me. Like, but anyway, that's a different rant for a different day. But anyway, went from the graduation straight into this full-time post at the gym, and then started coaching full-time because I was already doing it part-time while I was at uni, delivering pizzas, and I'd been doing it part-time at a local gym like once a week for a couple of years, I think. But literally from graduating, got the full-time post. And it was funny actually because I got the full-time post and I had a lot of mates that were in the year below me at uni. And I think I worked I think I had Wednesdays off. So what I used to do was I used to just pretend I was still a student on Wednesdays, and then just went and played sport at uni on the Wednesdays, and I captained the second team at football. I didn't even go to uni. So I just used to go out on the piss with my mates who were in the year below, even though I'd already graduated, got this full-time job, and also still delivering pizzas and that. It was living the dream, honestly. Absolutely brilliant.
So how old was you then? About 20?
So that was I've been 21. So then got the full-time post there, and then when I was 21, 22, and then I worked there for a year, and it was really good, but I felt like I was like working under somebody else's philosophy. They were like they're really big on these machines at the gym, and I felt like it wasn't, you know, I knew what I wanted to do kind of thing, and I wanted to teach women strength training because there were like I recognised there was a massive gap there. There was like just no women. There was loads of weak women around, of course, like there is now, but there weren't women in the weights area of the gym, like a low percentage of. So I thought that was a goal of mine, was to kind of contextualize strength training for women in the local area and make it, you know, at least make it available. So yeah, I came up with a proposal for the owner about doing this project, and then we just eventually came to the idea of setting up a business, and then he gave me this offer of basically just doing a percentage split of it was a percentage. So I set up my limited company, and then he said basically like a percentage split, which would have been a safer option because, you know, if I didn't make any money that month, then I'd only make, you know, 30% of zero I'd be paying, yeah, or like pay a flat rate of £400 a month, which I went with that because I went with the £400 a month flat rate because I thought if I'm paying that, I need to make it work. So I did that, and then took a few months to, you know, start breaking even and that. But then at the same time, I was supplementing by delivering pizzas on Tuesday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'd deliver Chinese. So I was making about 250 quid a week at the time doing that. So I could afford to, you know, take the hit a little bit whilst I like built up some custom and that. And then I got that going, and it was just absolutely amazing. So teaching strength training to women, and, you know, soon got really popular, and maxed out with like personal training and stuff. And then very soon got to the point where it was a heartbreaking thing to let go, but I stopped delivering the Chinese and pizzas. I felt it was a bit of a conflict of interest, to be honest, when I was teaching these women how to get in shape, and then go and deliver them a Chinese on Saturday night. But yeah, so I did that, and then I've been doing that for just over 10 years now. Like my own business, really.
Was the business that you set up, was that Lean Body Systems?
Yeah. That was it, and then it's just, I suppose it's diversified and then changed over the years. You know, like I've gone from, like, say, I started just teaching women, and then because my attitude was like, I can't be asked. Well, I didn't. Guys that were already big and strong, like, and confident and like cocky and that, like, I just had it didn't appeal to me, like making these dickheads even more confident, I suppose. Whereas like teaching women how to be stronger and like just really appealed to me. And then that's like very quickly it fell into. I was just getting like massive part of the clientele was like actually women who were injured, you know, like I'd say like spine problems or knee problems or whatever. And I suppose that's what shoulder problems. That's what I got really good at, actually, was getting these women stronger and more robust, and actually rehabbing their injuries that, say, they've been having physio, or they had like a client, one of my favourite clients ever that I coached for like 9 years. She was like 1 week away from having spine surgery, and she booked in a session with me, and she said this was her last shot. She'd been to physios, been to all kinds of rehab professionals, and I just thought I knew what I could do to relieve her symptoms, and why prove that I could. And then she was like maybe 60 at the time or whatever, and then like she couldn't walk without, like, basically like having she had like prolapse disc, and she couldn't walk without having tingling in her feet, and like the worst like a back went, like she just lost all sensation in the feet. Whereas I did some exercises that relieved the symptoms, and I was like, say, right, well, if we hold that position there, like, how does your foot feel? And she's like, I've got full feeling back in my foot. And then but obviously when she rested, like, and went back to a default posture, then she was getting her symptoms again. So basically, like we looked at fixing a posture, and then once we've like taught her how to do that in isolation, then taught her how to do in all the different movement patterns that we'd have to do in life. You know, push, pull, squat, hinge, and move whilst holding this kind of new posture. And then just by like doing that over the course of time, I got her like squatting, pressing, deadlifting, or whatever. And then over the course of time, like she got really strong at like squatting and deadlifting, and then we learnt about powerlifting, and then she eventually started setting some records in the BDFPA, like powerlifting. And she like squat, like this woman could not walk without pain in her foot, and like say 3 years later, I'm sure she squatted 95 kilos at like in a comp, no sleeves. Like I'm sure she was like 62 or 63 or something at the time, absolute monster. But the point is, like she was, and from that, like I look at the stuff that I do now. You know, what was that like? Say 8 years ago or something. I look at the stuff I do now where I've got like animals coming to me asking them to like get a little bit stronger or whatever. It's a fucking doddle. Like I started off doing this stuff with like broken women who don't even want to go to the gym, and they wanted to get strong. And I suppose like I suppose what's transferred well to the strongman coaching is like from I suppose like 10 years ago I was looking at how to get people good at these basement movement patterns of squatting, deadlifting, carrying stuff, so like farmers walks, carrying stuff on the back, pushing sleds, pushing prowlers. So that kind of stuff. So, you know, so again, just because I've been doing it for so long, you know, I can just see these inefficiencies that might take other people a while to analyse and break down. Like, I've just got this massive data bank from years and years of full-time practice of, I get this bit of, when I go here on that lift, I get a bit of pain down my back or whatever. You know, I've seen it so many times before where I can just say, all right, well, if we go like this, does that really, oh yeah, that's not painful, but right, or we can do, I've just got, you know, like built up this massive playbook for all these different scenarios that are just...
What whereabouts did you then come into Strongman, as in, like, your first comp, for example, when did...
First comp, 2000, I think it was 2017, I think it was.
And how long had you had Lean Body Systems by?
About, was it 3 or 4 years or something? But yeah, that's how it started off, was teaching the women, and then basically at this commercial gym that had one bench. It was like a 4,000 member gym-ish, I think. They had one bench, no deadlift platform, and one squat rack. I got people who, just personal training clients. I think I got 40 people to compete in powerlifting in like the space of like 18 months. Just because it started off with powerlifting because there was a local qualifier. You know, it was just like, so some of the ladies were getting stuck into it just because they had, you know, I used to look at the standards for qualifying for the national comp, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, so-and-so's doing this now. If you wanted to have a go, you wouldn't be far off the national qualification thing or whatever. And they just all seemed to love it for some reason. And what I did for everybody that I coached who did the strength training was like I worked out individually what the national qualification standards were for the squat, bench, deadlift in the BDFPA, just to give them a bit of like context of, you know, what would be a good weight to aim for my kind of weight and age or whatever. And like I worked it out, and I gave them like percentages of how far they were away from the, you know, and tracked the progress on that. That was quite interesting. But then, but I was playing football then as my main thing. I was like captain my local team for I think 8 or 9 years or whatever. That was like my thing. And then the lifting was just a thing that was just to kind of make me more robust for that, really. But but then I did it. I got stuck into powerlifting to kind of, what was the word? Just lead by example, I suppose. Just show that I could do it a bit as well, even though I wasn't very good. And I think I wasn't very good because I wasn't like fully immersed in it. I was just like doing it as a side thing. I was playing football full time for 9 months, and then overlapping with the tennis season where I'd play tennis, maybe play matches like two to three times a week for about 3-4 months. And then just played around with the strength training kind of thing and a bit of powerlifting. And then I got to the point, when I met Molly actually, she was doing Strongwoman and I was doing powerlifting. And I actually said to her, she's the one who taught me how to dumbbell press, by the way. Like in like 2016 I think it was, at that gym. And she was telling me how to jerk it, and I was like, what the fuck's she on about? Like, I didn't get it. So, but yeah, we actually came up with this deal where I said, oh yeah, you should come and do a bit of powerlifting. I taught her how to low bar squat instead of high bar, and how to set up with an arch on bench, and she could already deadlift a bit. And then she was like, right, I'll do that if you do a strongman comp then. So then I did a strongman comp, and it's quite funny, like we both swapped over. I started loving strongman. She loved powerlifting. So she went and did like went to like the BDFPA World Championships in Boston. I went out with her to do that I think that was 2017. And I found strongman, and then what I loved about strongman, I was like, right, fucking hell, what frustrated me about powerlifting was that, say, if I competed in my weight class, a guy that couldn't even run to the end of the street would be deemed as a better athlete than me because he out-totaled me. And I thought, I used to think, I'd love to, like, this geezer that's beaten me, I'd love to, like, run a race with him, or I'd love to, like, have a fight with him or something. Like, but because he's, like, built like a barrel, he can just, like, squat and deadlift more than me. I thought, right, that's not, like... That was where it was a bit limited for me, like in terms of like I think it was a really good framework for building robustness, but it was limited in terms of 3D kind of strength and conditioning, I suppose, and especially with like the multi-planar stuff, like you're just kind of stuck in that one plane, which I didn't really like. So I found strongman, and I thought like it encompasses some of the best things from powerlifting. I never really understood bench anyway. I thought it was just stupid. And then I thought, oh well, yeah, instead of bench, we can do overhead lifts. And then I think it's a lot more dynamic and a lot more, especially, and because I was rubbish at overhead lifting, because I wasn't really good at bench pressing, and when I got into overhead lifting, people were trying to encourage me to do it like a bench press, like build up your shoulders and triceps kind of thing is the main thing. And then that's where I found out that, it's going to take, I'm pretty good at these, I reckon I could get good at these moving things because I'm good at moving from playing sport, even though I'm not that strong and I can't lift that heavy yet, in terms of like farmers walks and yokes and stuff. But I could see how I could get good if I practice. The deadlift back then was like the thing that I could actually do. I could, like, from my ability level, I could pull about 255 or something without straps and that, and it's just never got any better really. But I've just added a suit and but anyway, but yeah, that gives a bit of an example really. Deadlift, which is obviously my worst thing now, and I'm like, I suppose for my class, like exceptional at everything else other than deadlift compared to, statistically speaking, that everything else I've actually fucking struggled with. I can remember every single exercise and I've really struggled and had to come over like a long-term barrier literally on everything, and but I was attracted to it, and I thought that, I think it's like an all-encompassing thing of, I think if you got really good at strongman, I'm seeing it now actually. See it with some people I coach who don't compete, but they like training the style. They're just fucking animals. They can do anything. They can do anything within life, like, because I suppose you get to the level that we're pushing it, Joe, and we go to it's almost like a bell curve where we're like so fit and strong and all these kind of amazing characteristics of physical excellence, but then we push it too far, and then we get injured. We struggle to get out of bed in the morning. We've all got eating disorders, like you push it too far. But if you can stay in that sweet spot where we're not trying to be the best of the best, like I think it's actually a beautiful thing that I look back to. I'd love to go and play 90 minutes of football now or 80 minutes of rugby, because I can run faster. Like, I used to be good, like competitive at sport or whatever I did, but I was never that fast. I was always like quite technical, and like with the sports that I did, that might, I suppose, maybe surprise people. Especially within strongman, because a lot of people will see me and think that I'm super athletic, especially like bigger guys. Like if I compete in the Opens, a lot of people think, oh God, he's super athletic. Whereas actually take the weights away from me, like sprinting without weights and jumping, I'm not that good, really. Compared to like, a regional level rugby team or whatever. There'll be people who can run a lot faster than me, and I'm not that quick. But I've got exceptionally good at running with weights and whatnot. But yeah,
how did the first few comps as a novice go for you? I always think it's interesting that of how people started.
Yeah, it was like middle of the pile, really, like quite low down. I think I was, I did couldn't finish the farmers. Squatted 170 for 6. I think one of the few times I've done squats. 200 for 8 deadlift. I think I hit 110 axle. I think it was max, and I think I did like maybe 100 stone for 6 or something. Maybe I did a few novice comps. That was I was like middle. I was like maybe 2/3 down. Bottom half I was in at that novice comp. I did another one at Body Power. I can't remember what year. Maybe 2018, 2017. And again, novice. I was maybe. There was quite a lot of that. Maybe if there was 40, maybe I finished, I don't know, 10, 15 for something. Like I was. But it was a brilliant test for me, and this in terms of. I was buzzing finishing there. Because this is a massive tip to anybody listening to this who wants to like develop long term in whatever you want to do. You've got to fucking enjoy the thing, like you've got to enjoy it, and not
That's
be
exactly what I.
Oh God, like it's so.
At the minute, because you're so into wanting to podium and stuff, and it's almost taking the enjoyment
honestly,
away from
like,
it. And I'm like, if you don't enjoy it in the first place, why are you even bothering?
Yeah, and I see people who get a taste of early success, and I'm skeptical whether it's people win a novice comp and then win maybe even an inters comp or whatever, and then they've got it on their Instagram handle that they've won so and so strongest novice whatever, and I just think, oh fuck, like I can't see these guys like going anywhere. Like if you think if you even think that that's relevant, like maybe I'm being disrespectful. No, I'm not being disrespectful to novice and beginners and inters, but it's just beginner. It just doesn't mean anything. It's practice, in my opinion. Like where you place, And I do drill this into clients, and maybe they think when they're starting out, and maybe they do think I'm a bit funny. But I think long term, most people will look back and thank me for it. Where
I hold a quote that you told me early on, and like 4 years ago, whenever I started with you, But you told me nobody cares where you come. Like, nobody gives a fuck what you do or where you come. And I pass that on so many times when first timers are like so like sort of like so into the comp that they're doing, like they're going, yeah, but they're doing that, or there's a person that's doing it that shouldn't be doing that comp, and I'm like, nobody cares. Like, look at the bigger picture. There's a bigger picture. You're doing these comps for experience, getting in front of people, seeing how you perform in front of people. Can you handle the pressure?
Seeing if you fucking enjoy it. That is a big thing. Some people don't. That is the number one thing that you're doing. Like, go and do a comp. But like, what's the point in putting pressure on the outcome if you don't even know if you fucking enjoy it yet?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? Just go and see if it's for you. Like, there's much more important things to there. Like, build relationships, network. Like, you know, people will remember how you work. People will never. A lot of the time, people watching. I go to comps now, right? Especially when there's multiple classes on, and you can't fucking tell. I'm more clued up than fucking most people when they're going in terms of comps that they've, in terms of what's going on. I know loads of people who compete. I know been to loads of comps. And even now, I go to comps and I'm like, I don't know what the weight they're lifting. I don't know if it's fucking 180 for reps or 220 for. I can't tell. You know, they're using different plates, or I don't know what the weight of the yoke is. It doesn't matter. But because what you see and what you remember at the beginner comps, because obviously when you get into the pathways, then you can look at the data and the placings and whatnot, because that's if you want to climb the ladder, that's what you need to be looking at. But it's false data that you see in the beginner stuff, because you're not going against people who are in your lane necessarily.
Everyone's different sizes,
exactly.
Different history.
But what people will remember is your attitude and how you treated other people, how you were in the how you were in the warm up area, whether you let somebody else in to warm up, whether you took their plates off when they were doing a set, whether you ask somebody something other than strongman. I go to comps. I used to hate it, right? And I didn't understand why, but now I do. I used to hate it when I went to comps, at like novice level, and people would say, "Oh God, I'm so nervous." Oh yeah. And I just used to despise it, but I didn't know why. And I used to just fucking walk away. I just thought, I'm not fucking going standing next to that person, like. And yeah, at the time I was just like, because I was just focusing on enjoying it and enjoying my own game, and I wasn't nervous myself because of the expectations I've laid out for myself of not giving a fuck what other people were doing, and actually. I had my own goals, and it doesn't matter what any fucker else, even if I've always been so focused on my own thing that I don't give a fuck about other people anyway, in terms of their effect on me, in terms of the comp and where they place. But that kind of negative attitude, like I look back now, and that was that I was right. I was like, everybody, we're all a product of our environment, whether we realise it or not. And if you're going to these comps where everybody's like fucking, not necessarily in a kind of, what's the word, they're not necessarily doing it on purpose, but if you're surrounded by a group of people and they're just like, I've had a cold last night. I had a cold yesterday. I nearly pulled out, and I've got a tripped up over my. And you just think, fuck me, all these people getting their excuses in before they just focus on doing your best. Like this is a thing that I want people to remember is like, whatever you do, and however you do, it's enough. And it's right. Whether you fucking bomb every event, that's fine. That's your feedback you get. You go and you fucking no rep every event of the comp. Doesn't mean that you're a shit person. It doesn't mean you're less of a person than the person who won. It just means that most of the time, it just means that you've got your expectations wrong. You've just put yourself in the wrong field. And you just zoom out and you've been like, oh, well, next time I'll go and do this one that's a little bit lighter. And I go and ace it. That is it. That's the worst, that is it. It doesn't define you. If you go and win, Joe's won England's Strongest Man, or Joe won England's Strongest Man under 90, under 80, same year, first person to ever do it or whatever, I think. Doesn't fucking matter, does it?
That, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't make Joe a better person.
No.
It doesn't make, it doesn't mean shit. Joe's a good person because he's a fucking good person. Like, for the things that are beyond, nothing to do with strongman. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so because there's a big part that will probably take a second part anyway, and it is
Right.
Your mythology of.
Right, sweet. Yeah. We'll do it whenever you want, mate.
Yeah, because obviously I think you could probably go on forever. So many people, a lot of people disagree. A lot of people go rave about it. But one thing I know is, like you said at the start, you always back yourself with it, and that's what I want to delve into. Like, you've always had that attitude, from what I can remember.
Oh yeah, fucking right.
Starting with no matter how mad it might seem, the things that no one else has seen, you back it every time. And
literally everywhere I go, I might go to a comp and I think, oh, I won't know anybody here, and then people just come up to me and be like, oh, thank you for this thing you put. I do this way now. I've always been told to do it that way, and I've done it your way, and I'm like, oh my god, it felt instantly better. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, there must be thousands. Like, that's I initially come to you because I quite like tactical, technical, like chessy. Like, even when I was doing boxing before strongman, I wasn't a brawler. I like to work it out. I like to do it as a chess, and when I seen the way you worked, I was like, that suits what I like to do. Might not be the best at stuff, but I'm clever with my brain.
Yeah.
And I can work stuff out and pinch a second and do this and the tactical. And can I beat someone with my brain more than brawn, if you like? And that's kind of what I liked. And then
that's it. Yeah. Well, that's the focus. But sometimes people discredit the fact that they just think it's all like cheat codes and stuff. But you think, like say they watch me and you do like a fucking 105 dumbbell or something and make it look easy. You think, oh yeah, it's all technique. You think, realistically, most really strong open people, they couldn't even fucking clean a 100 kilo dumbbell.
Yeah.
Do you know like how heavy that dumbbell is to fucking pick off the floor? Like, how strong you have to be to even make it move, or even to move it in position once the plates are in. You have to be a fucking monster to do that. Never mind, disregarding the technical aspect altogether. Stuff like a 400 kilo yoke. Technique. You just got to be a fucking monster, or you just get crushed. Yeah, well, I know you can optimise technique, but fuck me. 170 farmers, how the fuck do you technique that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what pisses me off.
There's a mix of both, isn't there? There's having that, but there's also having the little. I don't like calling them cheat codes because they're allowed in the sport. To me, it's not a cheat code. It's working something out that other people haven't thought of. We can. I suppose we could go over this for hours.
Yeah, we'll reconvene though, Joe. I really enjoyed it, and we'll. And I honestly, I love that other stuff. Like the story stuff and my story stuff, I don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed it, and I do enjoy it. If you ever want to, go deeper or ask other questions, I love it. I just haven't done it much. But whereas the other stuff, I feel like, and I'm also almost a little bit not insecure, but I feel like, why do people want to listen to? Why do people really want to listen to this and listen to me talk about that stuff. Like I can't quite see the objective value that people are getting out of it, kind of thing. Whereas realistically, you might think people listening to this are, oh, they're going to be inspired, and I suppose that's the focus of something like this. Whereas, like, say, talking over the like methodology, like I do an infinite amount of episodes of that. Like, if you wanted to say, right, one day we do overhead, one day we do, right, let's go delve deep into, deadlift theory or something. I'll do that, and like an infinite amount, because that's something that I just feel like you can use as a resource, and
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I just think like maybe it's just me because I like looking at people I like aspire to and stuff, and I like to see the human side of them, and
Yeah,
I suppose given your history of where you've come from, what you've done is humanising you, and they're not just seeing Josh Lancaster does this lift and it was brilliant and it was dead good.
yeah,
And he's an animal and he's a beast, and we'll never be like that because this is how he's always been and he's always done this. Where realistically, you're delivering pizzas and Chinese and you're in uni and you're playing football and you're on the piss, and people will be like, he is human. Like we can do these things that he's doing. It's a lot of work in front of us, but